Rock Show Critique presents another one of our retro interviews. This one goes back to 2017 with none other than Mr. Stephen Pearcy. You ready to start this little interview real quick then?
Got my ninth cup of coffee, ready to go.
All right. Yeah, it's early out there a little bit for you guys.
Yeah, I started at 9 o'clock.
All right, well, let's start off. It's been 7 years since Infestation and a little longer since Under My Skin, which was your last solo album. Your new release, Smash, is going to finally see the light of day on January 27th.
Yes.
After hearing it, I will say it's definitely worth the wait, as definitely I think it's your best solo album to date. And my question is, why is it taking so long to release new music? What's going on? You've been busy or what?
Well, it started almost 2 years ago, and when I was calling it Sucker Punch, and I had a whole nother concept going for it, and then, we're on the road, 3-4 shows a month, and we find time, and we wanted to be meticulous about the new record anyway. We didn't know what it was going to be called, but until, I figured in the first song, I Can't Take It, I mentioned the word smash, so I went, oh, okay, I think I like that. And then, we kept writing, and I was approached by Frontiers about 7 months ago or more, a little bit, and they said, you interested? And I said, well, sure, why not? Top Fuel can work something out with you, and we did, and they liked some of the stuff, and then we just went into writing mode. And the thing with me and my guitar player, Eric, we co-write all of our stuff, is he's like this writing machine. One day I get one thing, and then I go, that's great, and I'll start working on it, and then he'll show me something else, and I'll go, all right, that's going in the back burner. And then we have to start all over. And then I have my own stuff I write. So it's just a matter of songs, and we wanted this record to be very cohesive. We wanted this record to have a certain ebb and flow, light and dark. I mean, we were very conscious about this whole, it's by far a concept record at all, but we wanted it to make sense, and we didn't want it to have, I didn't want it to have these certain subject matters that, I've done before. I wanted some things for people to think about, and I wanted a fun song, and I wanted some, I wanted to cover the whole realm, so to speak. But I did want a beginning and end. That was a main thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to it a couple times. A few of the songs, obviously the opening track, I Know I'm Crazy, 10 Miles Wide. What do you think? Another really good song. Do you have a particular favorite track or tracks on the album at all?
When we go to play, we rehearse some of these live, it's going to be crazy because, live is where it all goes down. And I'm sure we can play it, but I like all of these songs. It's like, what do you think? That song, we actually recorded an acoustic version, like, Zeppelin's That's the Way or something, just to do, and that's a B-side or a bonus track in Japan. And so we want to be open to anything, to where we can just put down the electric and all of a sudden go out there in front with some acoustics and do a couple songs and then go back to beating your head and, like electric guitars, So they're all my favorites. There's not one song that I don't like, and that it took a lot because we went through a lot of music, wrote a lot of songs, started recording songs that, we just said, stop, we're doing this one now. I would hear something totally different and better on another song. And, these guys know I'm crazy, and that's how it worked, It's like, no, we're going to do this now, and it turned out for the better, with the songs.
Now, you worked with Beau Hill again on the album, I believe, correct?
Yeah, Beau Hill mixed and mastered I Can't Take It, that one song.
Oh.
He wasn't available. Yeah, he wasn't available to do the whole record. We really wanted him to do it. He was, I think, he was off traveling or something, and I was like, okay, well, we have the schematic. We can deal with it here. So we produced it ourselves.
Oh, okay. Now, you mentioned Eric earlier. I know he's been with you like over 10 years now. How did you first meet him, and how did you start playing with him and all that stuff?
We first met, I was living in, had just moved to La Costa in San Diego, and he was living across the street, and he had a band. I kept hearing this rock band, and I finally left my place, and they knew that some weird rock guy just moved into the neighborhood, and they figured out who I was, and I just walked over there one day, and I go, what's going on over here? You have a band? And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, well, okay, I have a studio at my house. You guys want to stop by, or whoever the writer guy is, and let's see what you got, Time off the road, and he stopped by and started writing, playing his stuff, and we were, recording, demoing some of his music, and we just, became friends. He had a pretty decent band in San Diego, and they were opening up for like Halford and STP, and before they were big, and he just happened to just fall into the picture. It's like it was supposed to be. And when it came time to me saying, hey, I need another guitar player, you can handle this, can't you? And he's like, sure. And he just started playing. Next thing I know, he's been in the band forever, and we're co-writers, and he writes amazing, brilliant stuff, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah. So on the new album, how much touring do you plan on doing behind it at all?
Well, I have, we start up February 24th up until July 2nd, and then we'll see what we do after. The band Ratt has finally seen some dust settling, so we've got a couple festivals on the books, and they don't interfere. They'll actually complement each other. But that's a whole other breed of animal there. And so we have a lot of work with that to get that back into the system properly, and maybe see a record from Ratt coming up too. But I'm pretty much concentrating on Smash, and then we'll get into the Ratt stuff mid-year, later year.
Yeah, I see you guys are playing a special show at the M3 Rock Festival.
Yeah.
What can you tell the fans about it? Is you planning anything special, or just going to go out and kick some ass, or what?
Well, no, we're going to try to make it, new and improved, obviously, and then we have Rocklahoma after that. We've got a date on the February 11th. So we're just going to up the ante, make sure the band sounds as good as we can sound, and maybe throw in a different song here and there that's not expected, and just do what we do. See, that's been a long time. It's not a big issue for us to take a year or 2 or 3 off. For some people it is, but not for us, the core members, the writers. I mean, you need time off to write, Mm-hmm. As Warren and I are starting already to demo a song here and there. We want things to be not just good. We want them to be just crazy, insane good this next time around. And we'll see what happens. We're going to take things slow and do certain shows and see what happens, as far as the Ratt thing, the Ratt machine.
Okay. Although you haven't released too much music over the past few years, you haven't obviously just sat around and done nothing. What else have you been up to?
Well, I still dabble in the race car sponsoring, and that's something I want to still, do. I'm still doing business with, trying to get my mic knuckles out into the public there, and I don't think, it's just writing, the writing thing happens. It just doesn't have to be delivered year to year. We're not under that label thumb like we used to be, and which helped destroy us in the first place. You know, record tour, you know, until you're blue in the face. So we tend to take some time off, you know, and especially if we have a problem somewhere in the mix, you know, we deal with that, and that's what's happened here recently. You know, trouble on the set. Well, we have to take care of that problem, and then we move on to smoother waters, you know, and it looks like things are going to be that way, and we could do things comfortably. We don't need to rush and take our time anymore. We've been around too long, done this too long, and we know better. You know, it's a more sobering experience, and you live and learn. You know, you want to stick around, and who knows? Maybe after this, I don't want to do anything. You know, I don't know. Maybe I might just like disappear. You know, accomplish this, accomplish that, and then just disappear. You know.
Well, you certainly earned it. All the hard years of being out on the road, it's not easy, that's for sure. Well, personally for me, I've always been a huge fan of the first Arcade album. I feel that's probably your finest hour on record. What's your take on the record, and why do you think Arcade wasn't bigger than they ended up being?
Oh, that's politics, man. You know, I agree. I get asked that all the time. Arcade. And that was a great record. It happened at a strange time. I had just left Ratt and said, I'm taking a break. I didn't quit. I just said, I'm taking a break. Somebody else babysit. I'm going to do something else. Fortunately, I hooked up with the president of Epic Sony, Dave Glue, and he gave me a 2-album deal, and away we went. And we worked very hard on that first record. Myself, Johnny Angel, and Fred Corey, the three of us, wrote everything, and it's still today one of my favorite records. And the second Arcade record, and Frankie Wilsey, one of the guys in my solo band, he was in Arcade too. And, you know, the second record was a little more aggressive. I think I had Halford's engineer, producer in there at that time when he was doing Fight or something. So it was a little more aggressive, but the first record is phenomenal. I put it up there against anything, but you know what? I think it was that grunge. They call grunge, and everything has to have a title on it, you know. But, you know, hey, look, what happened to that era, you know? See, with the bands stuck around and the rest fell to the wayside. You know, that's the way it works, you know. A fad is a fad, you know. The real deal in music is music, you know. And Arcade stepped up and delivered a great record, you know. Undeniably a great record. You know, we opened up some shows at Bon Jovi. We did some extensive touring, and then, you know, I don't know what happened. You know, it's just part of the course of history, I guess. I don't know. I don't question things. I just, you know, try to flow along with what's supposed to be, you know. And if it works, it works, you know.
Now, do you ever get the chance to play any Arcade songs at any point?
Sure. In my solo set, I might throw down an Arcade song. I might even throw down a Zeppelin or a Priest or you know, of course, I'm playing rap music, but this time around, it's going to be playing a lot of music from Smash. You know, this is a really good record, and we want it to be heard.
Yeah, definitely. I know. A lot of times when, you know, you're known for another band, and you go out on the road, some of these guys, it seems like they tend not to really focus on the solo material as much. Like Bret Michaels is a good example. You know, he started off solo career, he would play a few songs off it. Now it's just like all Poison or covers. It's like, what about your solo? It's about your solo band, I thought, you know, and here he is just playing Poison and cover
Mama
tunes.
Don't Dance, Daddy Don't Rock and Roll.
Oh my God, I'm sick of hearing that song.
I don't even think my older sister listened to that.
But that's what it seems like some of these guys do. So yeah, I'm glad you're going to be.
It's the easy way out, man. You know, that's just plain not wanting to, you know, do your gig properly. You know, people got up. So when I did Arcade, I didn't play any Ratt. People got uptight. You know, all I had to do was play maybe a couple songs, but I was like, no, so it can stand at its own merit. It's going to be what it is, and that's it. Well, you know, you live and learn. You know, throwing one or two in there is okay. That's what I learned. You know, especially if you know, I mean, it's like throw stuff out there. I like to do things that mean something. To where if I do have to play it, then it's gonna all be cohesive, one into the other. You know, Ratt, Arcade, solo, and that's how I approach things. And you know, do my solo sets because it's like I said, it's a little more aggressive than Ratt, and we have a little more of a loosely tight thing going. You know. So we're able to actually do what we want, you know.
Yeah, that was interesting because I did see you on both tours. You played out here in Buffalo at the Blind Melons, I believe, or Simbad's it was called back then. They the first year you played just all Arcade, and then the second time you came around, you played the Arcade, and then you came back for an encore and you did both Lay It Down and Round and Round. And I'll tell you, once you did that encore, man, that place was really electric.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got to figure it out. You know, our audiences are smart. You know, people take advantage or take for granted how smart audiences are. Your fans or whatever you want to call them. I call them our friends, but you know that they're hip, they're smart, they know what's going on. You know, that's why they're there to see you. You know, they wouldn't waste their time. So you know they have their expectations, and you just have to kind of figure it out. You know what their expectations are, and the way we work in the solo band is I go by the audience. You know, I could have a set list, but if I see something else going down in the audience, I'll just pick a song out of the air, you know, and play it, you know.
Now that's the awesome part about playing live, if you can do it. Then you got so many of these newer bands out there to play the same set, same order, night after night after night. I mean, they must even get sick of playing it, you know.
Yeah. Well, you've got to have some versatility. Even back in the day, you know, when we were constantly doing the arenas, and you know what they want to hear. You have to play those hits, but you know you can do other songs, and that's what we did. We were able to do, you know, is play a song or two that we like, you know. I mean, after all, we have to have a good time doing it too. Otherwise, you're correct. It gets stale. You get bored, and you end up walking through the set, and that's not cool. The audience knows when you're doing that too. You know.
All right, I'll leave you with one last question here. You've done many tours over the years. Do you have a particular favorite tour that stands out for you?
No, not in particular. There are some venues that were, you know, privileged enough to play, and you know, like the Garden and the headlining these places. It's always cool to do like a Donington or a Day on the Green and be part of history, you know. But other than that, every show's the same to me. Like there's 1,000 people, 10,000, 20,000. You know, it's all the same. You know, you just gotta deliver. And now that this machine is tightened up, we've built, ready to go, it's going to be more than a pleasure to get out there and beat down. You know.
All right, very good.